Fallout 4 is a game chock full of goodies, loot, money, gear, and information. And sometimes it's all locked behind a terminal. Alright, what's up guys? Hi, welcome. This is DrkBLADex, Dark Enforcers, aka Black Hawk Division Leader for DCUO. How's it going? Alright, this video isn't for anybody who already knows what they're doing. You don't have to watch this, you can do something else. Anybody who's played it probably already knows what the heck they're doing. This is just for people that just don't seem to get it. So that's what this video is for the most part. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to unlock terminals that you can actually access. Now, whatever level the terminal is at, you have to be at that level. Like, you can't do anything about it. You have to be at that level or higher. Right now, I'm at advanced, so I can unlock novice and advanced. I can't go any higher than that until I get those perks. But after you get those perks, I'm going to show you how to unlock your terminals. Okay, now as it loads up, you can just let it load up slowly, or you can hold the button, and boom, it's already loaded up. Now, this is your screen. As you can see, beam is highlighted. It's the first letter, well, the first word that's in here. It's highlighted. Now, that's not going to be the case. Sometimes you'll see a symbol, but just because it's the very first thing on the screen that you can actually highlight, beam is highlighted. Anywho, any actual words you see in here are possible passwords for this terminal. For instance, beam, Oli, tidy, link, and etc. You also have the side over here. Now, while you're doing this, the best way to go about figuring out a password is to find words that match up. Now, by match up, I don't mean like the meaning. I mean like letter-wise that match up. For instance, beam has an E, A, and M in it, and a B, of course. Now, which word also has those letters, but also in the same position? For instance, B is the first letter in beam. What other word has a B in the first position, or an A in the third position? You know, finding words like that that match up is one way of doing this. Okay, for instance, Oli. Oli has an I in the second position. So does tidy. So does link. So that's one. Those like 3 passwords that match up, full passable passwords. What we're gonna do is try to find out which words match up the most that way. It's even better if you can find words that have multiple matching words. Let's see, for instance, let me see if I can find one for you. Actually, nope, I can't. However, I can show you what I truly mean now. Okay. Trek and fork. Let's see. Trek and fork. They both have an R and a K in it. The K is in the right position, the same words. However, the R's are not in the right position, so the R does not count as a match. Just so you guys understand what I'm meaning. Now, what we're going to do is try to find all the words that seem to have a match. For instance, flat has an A in the third position, so does beam. Does anything else like that match up? It doesn't look like it. So our only matchup that has the most possibilities of having a match is the ones that have I, Oli, link, tidy. Now the reason we're singling these passwords out is because if by chance we click on here and it says 0 likeness, then we know that the I's are not part of the password at all. What you're doing is you're trying to find out which word is the password. When you fail and it says likeness of 1 or 2 or 3 or etc., that means that out of that word that you picked, 1 to 3 of those letters, depending on what it says as, like, you know, as far as like lightness equals 1 or lightness equals 2, one of those letters is part of the password for the real password. So what we're going to do is look at this password and see which word we can kind of link together with others. So just in case it's not the password, we can even single out other passwords. Now that is kind of a double-edged sword, because if it says 1 is right, then it can still be the I, because like for instance, if I chose link, There's an I in link in the right position, but there's also a K, such as a K in trek and a K in fork. If it says 0 of the passwords, then I have the possibility of singling out multiple words as not being the right password. However, if it says 1's right or 2 is right, then I know that I need to go looking again, because the I could be part of the password, or the K could be part of the password, and then I'm still pretty much at ground 0. However, for the sake of this video, I'm going to pick that. Alright, lightness 0. That means that L, I, and K, none of those letters in those positions are part of the real password. So I just took out Oli, I took out tidy, I took out fork, and I took out track. That leaves me with beam, flat, and host. And I still have 3 possible choices. So what we're going to do now is do the exact same thing. Out of the possible passwords that are still here, which ones match up together? Flat has an A, beam has an A. Also, flat has a T, and so does host have a T. So picking flat means I can kind of single out what password isn't, or this could possibly be the password itself, but it's going to be one of these 3 here. And I have 3 attempts, so you can't fail, and that's pretty much how you do this. But clicking on this, if it says, now keep in mind, it's going to say either 1 or it's going to say 2. If it says 1, but this is not the password, then I know it's either host or I know it's beam, because host has a T, flat has a T, and beam has an A, and flat has an A. Now, if it says, for instance, well, it can't say 2 because it doesn't match up like that with anything else. Let's say I pick this and it says, well, actually, there's something it can say. It has to be a 1, it can't be a 2. And it can't be 0 because that wouldn't make any fucking sense. Because the only possibles are these 3, and they have matching letters. So that's one way of doing this. Now, I'm going to show you an easier way of doing this. Now, this is like the cheat way. I don't really do this because I think it wastes a little bit more time, but this is the way to make sure that you never get it wrong, ever. Although keep in mind this does waste a little bit of time. There are symbols in here that group up together, and when you click on them, they take out the duds, which are the incorrect passwords. Okay, so keep in mind that beam, flat, and host, one of those is real password. Now, look at the screen and keep in mind where all the words are on this whole screen, because I'm going to find a dud and we're going to click on it, and you're going to see what happens when I take it out. So yeah, what we're doing now is we're just going through the symbols until we find something that matches up. There goes one. Alright. To find a dud, you look for the symbols, and as soon as it highlights more than one symbol, that's a dud remover. Okay, so keep in mind where all the words are, and now we're going to click on it. Okay, a word was taken out. I believe that word was the word link. It's not there anymore. Alright. Now, what you gotta do now is, if you want to keep doing this, you just keep going through these symbols until you find another one. And it just takes out the next word, and the next word, and the next word. For instance, I'll click on this now. Tries reset. That is a very good thing to hit on. Doing that will reset all your tries, which is a good thing too. So if you mess up, try going through here again and resetting it. That's something else you can do. Alright, let's look for another dud that we can take out. There we go. So let's remove the next dud. Alright, flat was removed. That means that flat was not part of the password, so now we know for certain that it's either beam or host. Let's keep going. And where it was removed. Okay. And you can just keep doing this until you take stuff out. It's a very, very easy way of completing this, but it's not necessary. Okay, that one took out the word host. That means without a shadow of a doubt, beam is the password for this place.
Yes.
And that's how you do consoles very easy without messing up. Now, you can try either way of doing this. It doesn't really matter. I'm just saying that this is the, well, way of making sure that you never mess it up, and I want people to understand how consoles work in this game. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, guys. I'll catch you later. This is DrkBLADex, the Dark Enforcers, aka Black Hawk Vigilator for DCUO. Dark Enforcers, darkness rises.
Powering up. Protectron on duty. Attention. Interference.